因为刚才不是给你那什么了吗？不是刚才给你这个用这个键，就是 YouTube 的直播那块。然后呢，咱们现在呢就把这边 mute 一下，要不然的话它会捣乱。行，那就相当于已经开始录了。那现在我们再回到那个 Zoom 上，刚才的 Zoom 哪儿去了？OK， 好，行，那现在就可以开始了。应该是 YouTube 已经开始了，然后这个 recording 也开始了。大家比较懒啊，在 Zoom 上。OK， 好吧，行。
租车也现在租了3年。
你的这个形象非常的。
就在那个3年以后租嘛，我当时眼睛看不太清楚，所以我要买一个比较亮的，这个是最漂亮的。现在是当然颜料，对，对，正式升级了。我刚刚。
恭喜恭喜！
当然。这个周末的。这个周末的刚刚进场，但是这样还不认识你。我认识。所以我呢，就他说，那你不说我之前，我看见你看见我拿我机场就看见你，但是你一直不回头往前走，可是我再往那边走，我也不就追你了。再往上一看，正好看见你了。那是你是背着个包往前走，我再往那边走，我还赶我的事儿。一个两回去找。
那咱们开始。那个今天特别，我在这儿哈。今天特别欢迎 David 孙，然后呢，到我们这儿来跟大家讲一下这个初创公司的财会方面的问题。这是我们湾区非常有经验的会计师，然后你来给我们大家自我介绍一下。
大家好啊，现场及网上的同学们，今天呢很荣幸受这个科大、北大平台几位上的一起跟大家分享一下我这么多年来所见到的初创公司在会计税务、融资、股权等方面遇到的一些问题。我们的这个是一个公益平台，初衷呢就把一些经验分享给大家，就希望大家呢在创业中能够顺利绕过一些坑然后这是我们的一个初衷。那今天呢，我们有几个话题，第一个是简单说。I have no idea。第二个我们还讲到这个股权融资还有一些税务、省税tax credit 的事情，因为这几个都是紧密相互连在一起交织的，所以呢，我们呢就是讲的话不会说这个讲这么一步一步，可能中间的相互有穿插有交叉，都会连在一起。首先呢，我就讲讲 financial report。这个财报呢，主要是有这么几张表，大家可能
Cody
念的都应该知道，但是这里还有很新的，我是顺便再重复一下。第一张表是水印表，因为我们叫 income statement。第二张表呢就是资产负债表，因为叫 balance sheet。第三张表 cash flow， 就是现金流量表。这3张表呢，都是相互关联的，都是紧密的连在一起。有好多的时候呢，我会遇到一些办公司的这些方的，因为他都是比较有时间去处理这些财报上的问题，所以好多跟我今年。
我们现在把这个调一下空调，听得不是很清，但是我觉得应该可以。
不过这个往这边，跟那个边
那就
相当于别的那里能冲这边。
就是应该是或者是挂在这儿。
对，要不那个方向反了。
来看一下，就是不是这么，它有一个往上还是往下，应该是。
这回我大一点声哈。那就是说呢，这个我这段时间我不做呢，这个太忙了，我不做这个，我明年做可不可以？那这个就是不知道这个表的一些相关性。balance sheet 的话，这个就资产负债表这张表实际是随时每天都在变化，都有更新的。只要你录一笔账的话，都会反映在这个 balance sheet 上它会每天就是一个及时的一个变化。 那我们讲的这个损益表 income statement， 它是反映一段时期的经营这么一个情况，通常是一个月为基础。当然有大公司可能这个希望看到一些销售的情况，可能会以这个星期为基础，2星期都有可能，这是根据公司的那个情况来做报时间都是可能。那这个资产负债表实际上它是反映一个点的这么一个公司的整体的一个资产、债务，还有这个equity，就是这个股权方面的变化。所以呢，资产负债表永远是说 as of December 31st 要么是月底，要么是这个季度的最后一天，要么是以年财年或者会计年度的最后这一天，就是。所以有人说我今年不做明年再做这是不对的，因为你这样的话，你这一年你不做的话，你的这个报税的没有完成，因为在报税表上需要把财报的信息要反映到这个报税表上面去，它这个报税表上面去的是个问题。另外呢，就是说你这个财报呢跟很多方面是息息相关的，如果你按照这个财报的话，你好多事情的话，你是没有完成的，没有办法做的。第一的话呢，你是要有融资。你融资的话呢，投资人首先要看你这个财报是怎么样的一个情况这个运营的好不好。那现有股东也要看，我投了这个资，你现在这个做的经营的情况怎么样？同时呢，公司管理要看一下，就是说这一段时间我们的销售是多少，我们花费多少。我们现在账户的资金还有多长的时间可以支持我们继续的完成我们的项目，然后到下一次什么时间点去融资？那这些呢都是这个需要的，包括你公司大的公司，银行也需要银行的这些 banker 会把你的财报拿过来看一下，你这个将来偿还债务的能力有多少，所以这些都是需要还有政府也需要，政府的话呢会给一些这个 grant。grant 之后，政府会做一些审计，会查看你这个 grant 你到底用到哪里。所以方方面面的话，无论是内部是外部的话，那个财报都是需要的。还有呢，公司内部的，再讲一个公司内部的有一些各种各样的一些报表包括一些work ratio、quick ratio，还有就是跟往年的一些比如说你这个销售的增长，你的利润的增长。还有呢，就是你的 earning per share， 就是你这每一股的价值都需要有财报的信息来支持，没有这些的话，你就是完全是做不了。那么我就把这个其中我遇到的几个例子跟大家分享一下就这个财报呢，实际上融资呢，还有这些那个借款到银行去这个申请贷款都是息息相关的。那其中有一个例子呢，他们是在2012年的时候呢，就是做二维码这方面的一个创业，他们这方面做的非常，当时的话是在这方面做的话比较领先的公司，但是呢很可惜，因为他们也是工作忙，然后呢一直也不来做财报，直到最后一天要融资了，融资的话突然发现这个没有财报那怎么办？赶紧找一个会计事务所去做，结果因为他是催的很短的时间嘛，但是他们的活动呢也确实呢，小公司没有什么太多的东西，基本上做的都是就是吃饭。投资人一看这怎么这么长时间了，1年下来都是吃饭，所以这个公司就没有融到资最后我听说这个公司最后也是死掉了。当然他死掉了还有其他一些问题，包括他在成立公司的时候，他们是请在 Mountain View Cache Valley Street， 就是在 Mountain View downtown 一家非常大的一家律师事务所。做了一家这个 Delaware 公司，那这家公司应该是原本准备上市的。那做了 Delaware 的公司之后呢，他们设计的不是很合理。那这样的话，虽然公司没有什么盈利，但是交了很多的税。因为 Delaware 的税呢，它不是按照你的这个收入来计算的，是按你的资产，还有你这个发行的股票，以及你还有你的允许你将来发行的 authorized share， 这个计算。因为他们当时设计还没有注意这个，所以他们也交了蛮多的税。融资50万呢，给这个律师事务所5万，再加上每年交税，再加上吃饭， 这公司的钱就都没掉了。但现在看来，这二维码的应用其实算蛮广。当然，在12年的时候，其实就在 Mountain Downtown 的好多一些餐馆都已经扫二维码这个技术。当然，现在二维码用的技术方面就更广，包括微信扫码入群啊这些，包括付款都是二维码这项技术。这是其中的一个例子。那第二个例子呢，也是因为财报做的不好。他财报不好是因为他也是一个学理工科的一个方面，他认为这个财报他自己就可以去处理掉。他确实原来是自己亲自出马做这些事情。做了之后呢，才发现占用了大量的时间，后来还是雇佣了一个会计师，但这个会计师不是很 qualified 啊。那最后做的很多都是错的。后来呢，找了一个比较好的会计师帮他们改，发现都是错的。然后呢，他认为这会计做的应该很简单，他在跟后面学，会计师在前面做，他在后面看做这东西，就是他花了大量时间是陪着会计师呢一起来做账。那最后他看了半天，他以为他这个应该学会了。后来他本来这会计师把他以前的都清掉了，清的很干净，也完全是很好账了。然后他后来自己做，自己做不下去之后呢，他又不甘心，又找了另外一个就专门是记流水账的人来记了。最后来又做的不行。那第一次会计师给他去做账看的，帮他做的改的时候，那时候公司销售还有300万，还做的还可以。到后来再去的时候，隔了1年再去，发现这账也做的很烂，然后销售呢只有70万，就他花了大量的时间呢，就是很宝贵的时间，原本是应该花在公司在战略方面包括市场经营，但是花大量时间在财务上面自己去亲自做，所以花了一些不必要的时间，所以这是一个教训。那我们在下面讲一讲就是主要的一些那个 tax credit。那大大小小联邦的 tax credit 有12种其实还有更多，这主要的是12种。那其中有一个呢，最重要的就是重中之重的就是一个 R&D， 就是我们说研发的一个credit tax credit， 这是最主要的。但其他的有的是健康保险这些 credit，其实很难拿得到，因为他要求的话呢，你平均工资的员工平均工资不能超过56000。那创始公司的话，这个一个 founder 的钱，再加上其他核心团队的钱，很轻松的会超过56000，这基本上拿不到。那还有其他的一些 credit， 包括一些child tax child care expense credit， 就是给员工呢这个上幼儿园一些钱，包括一些呢节能设备的一些投资这些也可以帮着做一些呢 tax credit。还有呢就是一些新能源生产renewable energy， 然后投资这个领域呢，在这个领域的话，政府还有一些这个 tax credit， 包括那个光伏产业不仅有 tax credit， 还有政府的一些现金上的支持，这都是蛮大的。那好多初创公司呢，他们不注意这个就是 R&D 这块的，其实这个是一个非常好的 credit。你不仅的话可以减掉你的公司的一些 expenses， 同时你还有额外的一些 tax credit 帮你抵税。很多人founder不注意去积累这方面的事情，那做了几年之后呢，10几年，包括他都不知道。那我就遇到这样的公司，那有的公司呢会找到好的会计师之后呢，所以就把这个 credit 能够逐步的积累起来，然后将来等公司盈利了以后呢，可以用来抵税。那其中有些大公司呢，包括像那 Amazon 的，Amazon 的话，年年都是亏损亏了很多钱。到后来盈利的时候，你看它交税也不多，海量的盈利，但交的不多，主要是一个是 tax credit， 还有过去的一些这个 loss。那在美国的 loss 是可以向前的 carry over，carry over 的话20年，所以这是一个很重要的一个节税的一个手段。那再讲到就是说这个 loss 的话，好多公司有些人创业失败了以后呢，就急着把这些公司就关掉这是一个很可惜的一件事情。像有一家公司我们遇到过的，他呢就是账面上呢有80几万的 R&D 的 credit， 还有这个 loss。当然，passive under tax credit 的话，它是破产以后有 tax credit，否则的话它还有一些 loss 的一些 carry over。所以他就急于这么关，所以后来我跟他提个建议说，你最好这些可以先不用关吧，有一些盈利的业务的话，可以放到这一边来。那这样的话呢，也可以省了好多的税。还有一家公司呢，他们也做了蛮久，他们做的 Web3 大概有400万 loss，400万的 loss，但是我认为他们这个会计师可能做的不是很对，没有看到他们有 tax credit，这 R&D 的 credit。像这种公司的话，一定有大量的 R&D 的 credit，可惜呢都没记，只有一个 loss。但可惜呢，他们这个项目做完之后呢，做的话就是也是做完了嘛，做完了，但是也是没有赚到钱，但是呢，他也要关，所以400多万的 loss，这是一个巨大的一个 tax credit，这样急着关掉的话，这部分的也就损失掉了。按理说的，他如果是继续经营，或者再找一个这个 founder 进来，或者找一个投资人进来，这一部分其实可以省很多税。所以呢，这是一个大家应该我认为的值得注意的问题。那这是一个 tax credit 的事情。那回头再讲一下 R&D 啊，R&D 的话，并不是你什么情况的话都可以计划。R&D 的话，这个会要被 audit 那国税局这边也会很在意这方面的事情。所以你要是有 R&D credit 的话，你要严格的记录好你每一个时间点你做了什么，你有些哪些 milestone 你给自己做研发这些东西不是，你一定是研发是向外卖的产品，你呢才能有这 R&D 的 credit 包括一些给这些研发人员的工资外面请的一些合同工的还有包括你买设备的 supply， 其实全部都是你可以作为这个 tax credit 计算的一些花费。同时包括一些基础性的研究，你跟一些大学呀、研究所做一些合作那这些合作呢，这些你的花费，请他们给你做一些基础方面的一些backup 知识的一些东西，都是可以做来计算的R&D credit。那这个 R&D credit 就讲这么多，当然计算呢还有两种方法，一种简单的一种比较复杂这两种方法这里就不讲那么细了。第三一点呢，讲这个股权这个股票，那股票呢通常呢是有两种股票，一种是就是普通股我们所说的 common stock， 另外一种是 preferred stock， 就是我们的优先股。两种股票的功能是不一样的。common stock 通常它是有投票权的，这有 voting power。那 preferred stock 它在将来的话，分红的时候有些优先包括将来这公司破产的话，在资产分配上 ，asset 分配的话有些优先，有这么一些比较好的。那股权的设计呢，其实是非常重要的。如果这个股权关系到很多的问题，包括你将来你的将来的 capital 变得量的问题，包括你的公司运营的主导权的问题还包括你那个分红量的多少这是一个很大的问题。那特别是 founder 这个股权的设计一定是要非常的仔细的，否则的话，你辛辛苦苦经营几年，到最后成功的话，你会丧失公司这个主导权的。当然，有经验的founder都知道，但是也有这个不算有经验的话，他不知道一些东西。那其中呢，股权设计就是一个叫 poison pill，poison pill 这是一个很好的设计。其实很多的大公司呢都有这个读完计划读完计划就是当然的话，这个具体的话怎么做的读完计划呢？每家公司情况都不一样，这个跟那个有经验的专业人士去来商量，做一些处罚点比如这个突然说这个我们将来这个股权被外面的这恶意收购达到15%的处罚，这个poison pill 这个读完计划这样的话让这个恶意兼并的一些人付出更高的代价，知难而退这也是一个股权方面的事情。那股权方面的事情，我们也遇到这些纷争其中讲一个例子，就是我们当时呢遇到就是在19年的时候，就我们做一个人工智能手术机器人的一个项目 当时两边呢，一边是美国的技术团队，另外是国内的投资人，两边就商量好，事先就是说技术团队这边占40%，投资人占60%。那个等钱进来以后呢，他们这个by law 公司的章程迟迟不签，迟迟不指定这个公司的董事会成员。那这样的话，将来就造成了混乱。我当时呢建议说，我说你们尽快签。我的建议是，你们签完以后呢，这个将来踏踏实实的各做各的事情。但是投资人有他的考量，他说这个东西你现在什么也没做出来，我是真金白银的投了这么多钱进来当时投了有200万了200多万了，那你现在你什么也没做出来，做的东西我不满意，我怎么能把40%的share 的给你了？然后后来这个技术团队这边也不太满意，这个一直呢心里不踏实。当然了，这个投资人是承诺的，如果你达到某一个程度的话，这个该怎么签都会签的。那这个时候技术团队的人就比较着急嘛。那本来呢，他是作为公司做这个 CTO 的角色，就是技术总监、首席技术官，他就跟这个国内投资人说：“你看，我来做这个 CEO，你不要做 CEO 了。”那国内投资人认为你是技术比较好，那再好，但是你在管理方面你可能经验不够，就没有答应他这个要求。结果后来美国技术团队呢，就请了外面的我们说是引狼入室还不知道还是怎么样，这个不好说，不好判断。就请来外面的人外面合上当时国内投资人不知道，请了一个也是在同一个行业做这个人工智能，就是手术器械的机器人的一个失败的一个 founder 一个创始人进来。当时他们做的是很巧妙，进来是说以做合同工的方式来进来，实际呢就是说他是用中国投资人钱找这个人设计一套计划，等于是公司重组的一个计划，把这个中国投资人给洗出去。当然，中国投资人呢也不知道反正还一直在继续投钱，直到有一天，这个美国这边的团队一个是美国的白人女性，一个是伊朗的斯坦福毕业的博士，还有中国的大陆过来的一个博士，然后3个人是一方，就搞了新的一套公司的重组的计划。然后他们以这个 CFOs 原因，就劝这个中国公司的投资人中国的投资人说，你看要不这样吧，这个 CFOs 要求这个不能中国人不能投资人工智能，这个对我们将来会有这些有一些危害那中国投资人就信了就把它签了，结果这60%的有投票权的股权变成了10%的 C，就是未来的一个债转股，就是一个债转股，就没有投票权完全没有投票权，一个债转股，一个优先股，并且是一个 C。现在你手里是现在都是债并且那债呢也没有写一个具体的一个interest rate 利息都没写。那后来这个整个的计划呢是中国投资人投4000如果中国人投资人不知道的话，一直要投4000万，这公司跟他1毛钱关系都没有后来呢，这个中国投资人呢咨询了方方面面的人士，突然发现就上当了，两边就开始打官司，官司打了2年这边又花了100万后来律师说跟这个中国投资人讲，你呢这个官司你保证能赢，但是再打然后再花100万。但是后来这中国投资人一看，这再打100万了，这公司已经什么都没有，拿到这公司之后，两边和解，这个案子就结了。我举这个例子呢，就是跟大家讲一下这个股权的事先大家一定要都讲好。有些里程碑的事情呢，该做好的做好呢，就该签的协议就签，这样把各自双方的利益呢都保护好。那这样大家各司其职，各尽其能，然后踏踏实实的能把这个项目能够做下去。这个例子就是说，大家不仅原来是很好的友谊关系呢，也就是说失去了，并且反目成仇。很有意思，这样就是说，美国这边技术团队呢，已经把这个协议跟中国投资人签完之后，还继续向中国的投资人要钱，中国投资人继续又投30万，然后这30万投了，其实也是打水漂的钱就是除了给美国这个团队的话，发工资以外呢，就是没有任何意义，对他个人来讲任何意义。当时刚好赶上疫情嘛，所以 好多变故就发生在疫情期间。但中国投资人，我认为气度还是有，说你这个你们接着往下做啊，不要停，就按正常的进度做，你们花多少钱，我这边都出。就中国投资人这个气度真的很不错，我看了很少有这样的中国投资人，就说很可惜这个项目后来也没做完啊，两边又打官司，就是因为这个股权的问题没有搞好。所以初创公司呢，一定事先呢把各种的股权的一个计划，还有这个里程碑的事件呢都想好，来怎么来做的股权。当然，股权的纷争还有太多啊，包括有的当时呢就是没有做一个这种investing 这种计划，好多这个创始人可能开始的也没工作几天哈，因为公司一点内部矛盾，自己呢不在这边工作，自己又另外开家公司，那纷争呢很奇葩的纷争，比如说纷争就是说你这个人能不能代表这公司做 CEO，能不能代表公司这个形象啊？那有一方就说我要请个外国人做这个公司 CEO，他说这中国人也可以啊，就这么一点纷争，两个人的关系破裂，然后这边自己又做公司，当然这边的公司的股票股权也照拿，所以这种股权的纷争是很多的啊，各种各样的原因，所以需要大家呢还是事先呢在创业之前之初呢，就把这股权方面的事情能够设计好。所以这个股权呢，跟大家讲到这儿。那再讲一个事情呢，就是我们这个融资的事情。融资的话，渠道有很多哈。我估计大家可能大概也都知道，比如说亲朋好友啊，这个种子轮自己出钱啊，这都是融资的渠道。包括去银行去借啊，去发债包括去众筹哈，这么的 crowdfunding 这一条路还有一个找这个风险投资 VC 啊，还有一个找这个 iBanker 啊，就那种 investment 私募这种种种都有这种渠道。但是我看了一下，基本上所有的这种融资的活动呢，第一项要求基本都是要有一个 financial state， 一个好的财报。所以你看的 financial 多重要。所以就我们今天来 call back， 又回到我们那个前面讲第一项啊，这个 financial 呢很重要。第二一点呢，就是说这个创始人呢一定非常 articulate 啊，能把这个事情说清楚。在好多的时候呢，因为本身呢，好多黑科技呢不是很能够讲清楚。我会遇到好多这个公司的创始人，因为技术这个难点比较大，他完全就从这个技术角度去讲这个事情，讲的大家那个投资人听的话，就是说听不明白、听不清楚，他不敢，越不听清楚，越不敢投资。他就会去举一个例子一个大家都熟知的，也作为一个类比，这样大家都听明白了。他不会去这么做，那所以呢，这个也是一个很遗憾的问题。那再有一个的话呢，就是融资的话，credibility 这个很重要。有的人呢，既往创业很成功的，包括我知道一家公司的老板，这个人呢，平时呢信用很好，既往在公司的表现也不错，所以找到自己以前的老板，老板就直接去投资了。他做的东西也不是一个新东西，不是那个开天辟地的东西，只是比以前的那个性能要提高一点，好一点。那这样的话，其实不确定性都是很大的，但是老板还是投资了，找到周边的其他的一些投资人呢，也都是给他做的投资，就是他既有一些口碑、工作表现，这个很让这个周围的朋友们信服，所以还是到这个资了。再有还有融资的话要有前瞻性，不能说你说到最后一天需要钱的时候就融资。我们就遇到一个案例呢，他做这个项目其实非常好的。几年前的话，当时呢这个还是在刚开始的阶段，大家像刚开始就是还不是很了解的，其实他们这个研究已经蛮深入了。所以有投资人呢跟他讲，你现在呢把手里的工作赶紧停掉。当然因为我这个不能讲，大家完全很小都知道了，因为我没讲不知道是谁，所以我讲的尽量呢，大家隐隐约约知道是谁，又不知道具体是谁，这样会好一点。那他两个项目，其中一个项目呢很简单大家都能去做，难度不是很高。他做的一些呢取得一定的进步，另外一个呢是比较有难度的。对，那这个投资人我刚才讲的，这种投资人呢， 实际他也不是 Angel 啊，他投的量很大5000万，他也不是 VC，也不是 iBanker，就是因为他爸有这种病，那我父亲有这种病，我去需要你赶紧把这件尽快做出来，看怎么样，我给你投这些钱。那当时这个创始人呢也没有想特清楚，他说我这个技术现在做这个，现在我现有的项目做的比较好，进度比较快，我将来的重点在这边，比较将来拿得出手快一点。你新做这条路呢，我要重新另起炉灶的话呢，可能会慢啊。但是岂不知呢，几年过去以后呢，因为做的东西太多了，越是容易的人，大家做的都很多，这个做出来的成绩呢都是有。那他这边呢，因为还是因为这个资金的问题，实际上在现有的这方面做的也不是特别快。如果当时的话呢，他能够听取这个投资人的意见，他甚至可以就灵活一点。我讲这个是一个灵活度的问题，他可以把这个单独拿出来，把股权让出来一部分，然后再成立一个 division 来做这个融资，然后这个 division 开始做，另外一个 division 可以适当慢一点，但是你可以谈条件的，是吧？我这边呢是吧，权利的话90%时间做这个，10%做这个，这样你可以把这融资拿。这样呢，错过一个机会，但是还在不断的融资哈，几乎每天都在融资路上，每天就见各种各样的这个投资人来听他去讲的。但是他也是，我认为他是很勤奋，每天讲一丝不苟，每天讲的都是很精彩。然后呢，因为我们当时也参加了嘛，所以也看到，当时就给他领一个比较有实力的投资人进来，给他另外一个建议啊。另外一个建议就是说，通过这个 milestone，你不同的时间我给投多少钱进来。因为他当时呢是在想，因为他不懂这个概念，他比较对融资上不是很在行，他又找了一个投资人呢，又比较的以自己的主观来去代表这个创始人来讲话，所以直接就把这项否，直接问你投多少钱，所以这个就没法谈下去了。所以大家的话都是不欢而散，所以这件事情又当。后来等到这个创始人明白了，这是一个很好的计划，这为什么不这么做嘛？等他再次接触到以后，其他的投资人也是按照这个方向走，就是按照一个 milestone，每一步呢投多少钱啊？随着你的达到一个 milestone，当然你的股价升值，我投的也更多，但是我拿的更少的股份，就是这么一条。所以融资的话，这个方方面面的事情其实蛮多的，需要灵活性，需要还是我们前面第一边讲的，把其中好多东西要准备好啊，包括你的这个生产能力啊。还有包括你的实验室都要准备好。实验室我们也找其他投资人比较有经验，说你这个完全不是一个捷径的一个生产实验室，他完全不知道，他当时建的人他没有这方面的经验，因为你这个墙壁的准备都是不够的，他自己完全不知道。但是后面有经验的投资人说，并且做过这个，说你这个完全不符合这个要求所以那这样的话，为了将来在投资路上还有一些障碍要去克服。那所以现在我们讲了4个，那前面那个 credibility，那我们之前呢已经都讲了一些，提及了一些就是说，当然了，这个投资人看你以前的成功，当然了，你即使失败了，为后面的成功也做准备了。失败了不要紧，要把前面失败的事情跟这个以前的投资人交代清楚，是吧？你公司关掉也好，然后你的剩余的资产你怎么处理，都要讲清楚，要经常沟通。不要说你这个失败了之后一蹶不振，停在那里，那你将来的话，你要再遇到这样的话，人家可能不会再，你自己在疗伤，但是投资人也在疗伤，他投那么钱什么都没有，然后最后你连个交代也没有，他所谓疗伤，我这个人就看错了，对吧？那中国有句话，倒驴不倒架，那个失败的，这个我们这个叫做那个这个没有常胜的将军的。所以呢，即使失败的话，还是要振作精神，把该处理的处理完。那让投资人的话疗伤也快一点，这个我人还早的，这人也不错。因为这个时代发展太快了，你当时做的项目可能很新，过一段时间的话，你这个完全就就是已经是落后了。这技术角度的话就过时了。所以这个就是创始人这个还是灵活。有好多的时候呢，投资做的初始想做的项目，但慢慢以后呢会不断演变的。因为这个技术在变化，市场在变化，你可能在不断的调整 像我前面讲其中的一个人，就是说，自己做财报那个，其实一家国内很著名的风险投资呢是投了他，当时一再催促他，赶紧去上市，怎么有上市计划？那他呢，当时可能有这种小富即安的心理，他已经赚了一些钱，自己一事无愁，还有一些很大的结余，他就拖着了，他不去想上市整个这个计划，他不去做。结果他当时的时候，他这个产品还是好的，还是很不错的，无论在糖尿病足啊、止血啊，当时不错的啊。到后来你看，现在干细胞也出来啊，方面其他的技术出来，还有一些这个外泌点东西出来之后呢，它的技术在糖尿足这个完全就没有市场，哎，所以这是一个很可惜的事。其实好多大公司呢，都上市融到一笔钱以后呢，然后再兼并不断其他跟它竞争的一些小的公司，或者比它更先进小公司，因为它上市以后，它有足够的这个现金储备包括用股票去换 equity to equity，它都有的可以操作的空间。那它这样的话，它不上市不去有现金储备的话，把这条路就堵死。就说是，所以创业者不仅要说满足自己的生活，还是要有一个大的一个计划，一个大的一个方案，还要更雄心壮志一点，可能发展会更好。我今天的分享就这么多，看大家有什么问题。讲得很快，我这个讲话速度很快，不知道大家有没有问题？
大家问点问题。那个你先等啊，我们在做测试，然后呢，我就想保证这个网上的人也要不我借用一下，我看看，来你问问题来，OK，你试试看，大家能不能听到？对，就是线上的也可以打个字啊，能不能听到他的问题？好，您讲。哦，没事，他就是让线上的人听到，没有不是麦克。
理解，您好，就是我请教，就是刚刚你有说到说有一个国内的 investor，然后他是有60% equity，but he got convinced to change to 10% safe. I was just really curious about to learn more about the details. How did he get that? 刚刚就是在听的时候有点没听清楚这个。
这个就讲一下那个 CFIUS， 就是 CFIUS 实际上一个外国投资美国一个管理委员会。那这是美国呢，就是实际上主要是针对他认为的不友好国家搞这么一个委员会，限制这个不友好国家呢在美国投资高科技重点行业的这投资的人。它是一个很综合包括美国的一些国防部、商业部，好多的部门在里面。当然就是说遇到这种美国的战略投资的问题呢，要经过他们去审核。那人工智能的话，在2015年是比较新的，当时呢已经在他这个委员会的雷达上说这个投资呢会有限制。但那个时候呢，这个法规呢还没有那么明确，都是一事一议的。那美国这边的团队呢，就以这个 CFIUS 说，这个是中国人投资的高科技、科技人工智能会受美国限制，所以以这个理由去跟中国的投资人谈。当然，它其中还有一些其他的，可能一些欺骗的手段吧，包括说我们签一个假协议啊，然后你这边还继续背后里还是大股东这些东西。但实际上，他们当时已经有做好计划，就彻底的把那个中国投资人甩开，用他的钱，然后搞出技术。他们用投资人的钱申请的一些专利都不在这公司下面，就说这个技术团队搞得很厉害。所以他最开始的话，我觉得就是好像就有点问题。你哪怕你用投资人的钱，你的技术也出来了，你有申请专利，完全不在公司下面，都在你个人下面，或者在另外一个什么公司下面，对吧？那这就不好。
对，我问个问题，我上来进来听你介绍这个项目的时候，就是我好像小公司刚开始的时候一般会做，可能东做西做做很多事情嘛。
对。
然后最后你说了一个事儿，就是把它分成90%、10%。
哦，对，
做不同 division。
对。
你是最后是把它所谓 division， 你把它分成不同公司呢，还是说这样？因为还在公司下面，我认为这个分
它是这样， 当时这个其中一种可能性了啊，当时他没有去想到这一点，后来等想到这一点，这个已经时过境迁了，当时他完全这个点他都提都没提，其实是可以商量的啊，因为这个投资人嘛，他是为了投资有产出嘛，对吧？只要能有产出的话，
所以现在你跟投资人一个 commitment 的时候，我90%都做你这个，15%会做那个，就是相当于跟投资人有一个沟通，
就一个沟通。
那
其中
这个90%要分开吗？还是说是就还
他可以这样，就是说把这一部分权益呢，是完全拿出来，100%的就做这一项，
相当于你定点投，我就投这个项目，
投这个项目
10%没关系给你。
对，就是说定点就投这个项目，然后就做这个项目，然后呢，
复杂，我觉得。
当然就是我也向这边倾斜，会有一点点复杂，但是不是不可以谈的。
这个也
都可以谈，因为他这种人，他还有一种自己原来父亲有这种病，他急于想要的荣耀，就是能够生产出来或者实验出来，对，比如说对这某一方面有作用，是吧？他是愿意做的，他不是不愿意做的，他只是说你要能就帮我尽快把它做就可以。所以有这个先决条件的话，
是这个事情我问，就是说有的时候这个公司一定程度上这两个是，就是说可能这两个不同的路线，可能就最后共同 result 不好。
对，
要分开
这一点呢，
分开的话，
等
我完。
对，
不好意思啊，就是说如果分开的话，那原来的投资人就是分开的话是一般怎么处理？一般是说就是说我是相当于给他们把他的那部分东西买过来，相当于还是说到底原来投资也是一边投一边，
它就是股份的问题，拿多少股份的问题，对吧？你原来投5000万，拿30%，是吧？但是我这个division这一趴我让出来，我让你拿50%，
这个是需要跟投资人协商的，是吧？就是说
可以跟投资人协商，都是你谋取的，因为这种事情，投资人的建议他是那一个建议，但你当然不说投资人要求什么你都要买，你提出你的建议的，那大家就是看看就是一个 negotiation skill， 因为这种看了，那这样其实完全可以有
没有可能性，就是我这边10%这个东西，我分出去一个公司，然后那个投资人也不知道，他还是原来那个公司，这个公司就成这样了。其实
这种的话是实际上呢一定是不好，人家的投资人他也知道，因为你这个主要的核心的技术就在这儿啊，他一定是
他到那个可能不一定是合理，他可能是10%的，就是可能一定程度上是那个 reference 一个，但是也是原来公司里面孵化出来的，相对来说。
是这样，就是说我们这个例子就是核心技术是一样的，说白了就这么一个核心技术，用在这方面用在这方面只不过呢用在前面简单那个实验呢快一点，进度很快，实验要求呢也没有那么严格，过政府的关也快一点，这边呢可能会慢一点然后复杂一点。另外，他可能会对中枢神经对这个整个这边的系统他不是很了解，所以他胆怯的不敢做这方面。他有太多的疑点，在当时的时候他没有打通。当然，当时的话，这个因为非常新的，好多实验也没有做。到了今天以后呢，其实好多都在做实验，包括中国的一些都已经做实验，效果很好。美国的一些知名的机构也做了实验，效果也很好。另外呢，包括对这个疾病，比如说这个老年痴呆，还有这阿尔茨海默疾病，了解越来越通透包括我原来一直认为是那个托蛋白标蛋那个淀粉蛋白，造成这个原来沉淀，但后来才发现这沉淀还不是个原因，原因它产生一些炎症，所以后来现在最后归根到底是找到一个炎症，现在炎症有时不是很超前，一讲是一种 RNA， 一种好的 RNA， 一种坏的 RNA， 就是因为它这种好的 RNA 不够，坏的 RNA 呢阻止了这个淀粉蛋白这种我们叫做代谢吧，这个原因，所以沉溺在那，所以它那个技术一步步在进步，说理论不断在更新，当年是没有这么新的，可能找到资料影响到好多的判断，可能会影响它，但其实好多那个基础的东西呢，都有些很明显，不用那么深的基础理论，就在你平时他的经历的话，如果足够仔细的话，这些也都是遇到过，也可以自己能够论证的。对，你好，请讲。
您刚才有提到说达尔文公司作为早期的时候呢，像创始人他可能是在公司没有盈利，就是一些 cost 的时候，有 您从 CPA 专业的角度有一些什么建议？比如他做这些 financial statement 这些 table，它需要多么的细致？对于之后的融资会有具体一些什么样的需要注意的？
主要是这样，就是说最开初的话，因为德尔公司的话，现在注册的也不像想象那么难嘛。这某种情况下呢，你花一个5万块钱做一个德尔的公司，我说这个对一个初创公司是很大的一个 burden。对，然后在那个你的整体设计上，最开始的话，你可以一步一步来，等你有钱了之后再设计这个计划。
问题是已经设置了，
对，你设置的过程中，你可以开始做一个简单的，包括你拍照做很简单一点，不要那么多。等到你公司盈利了赚2年之后，你再找更好的一些那个律师事务所或者会计帮你来设计一下，做的稍微复杂一些。这样的话呢，你盈利的话，你可以去支持你的一些赋税。那小的公司的话，你没有盈利的话，赋税的话，就把公司前面的一个种子基金全部交税了。对，所以的话，还是你要请专业的去设计好，既要懂税，要懂注册公司的，这样会更好一点。对，再有呢，我推荐你的话呢，除了在公司做记账的话，你最好找什么样的？找业界出来的，业界的做的比较细致，能够对整个一些细则、政府的 GAP 要求比较清楚，找这样的人。那如果你能找到两边都懂，既懂税又懂审计又懂这个业界的，那是最好。当然这样相对来讲比较难遇到，但是我今天在这儿可以讲是你遇到，对，确实是这样。因为业界做的非常的细致，但是没必要。你一个小公司，你做那么细，没必要。你是把投资人要看的东西做出来就可以了。
哪个这个情节是？
那个是对 PWC，他那个报了，我认为是没有他那个审计，因为我认为是这样，你那么大虚增那么大的一个收入，还有虚增那么大的一个利润，那个是不可能的，那是完全是就是说配合恒大去做这个报表，等于是造假啊。那个不是他不懂，他
确实是造假。
那应该就是造假，否则你不可能说你把利润能虚增947个亿，那是不可能的，就还是很大量的。你找到那么多的 invoice， 你要去 track， 你要去 trace， 这些很容易就找得出来啊。那些合同双方一对就对出来，没有那么难啊，对吧？如果那个谁的报了呀？对，恒大的，那个 A round 报的，恒大的报，恒大的报的那个报，那是 PWC 做的，
因为大家对他们是因为他是中国的那个 PWC，
中国的
现在中国的 PWC 没人信，因为中国的 PWC 呢，后来才知道，因为中国的公安部呢，为了保持中国的司法部，为了保持中国有独立性，它是不允许你查案底的，就是那个 PWC 说什么是什么，那你无法和公司去对账。那么要对账的话呢，现在呢就是在前一段时间，终于中国了同意就是可以，如果是在美国上市，因为美国的要求了可以去对账，但对账的时候呢，有一个说法就是要求中国的这个司法部同意查账，同时还有司法部人的陪同要加，但是过去是不允许查的。那所以呢，假的就你都是假，只要说 PWC 说 C 说是真的，但他也看不见真的，
太可
对，这个所以说正因为这样的话，就是没人信。
那他审啊，谁也看不见这个事，那就不要审，那就亏了。我前一段时间也遇到一个要做审计的，他让我给出个价，给个扣，我什么都没看见，我怎么出个扣的？我说你最起码要把那个纪要给我发回来看，他死活不给纪要，这些东西的话。那必须要出了，我才可以给个扣的嘛，对吧？那这样的话这就过去了。因为像这样的公司的话，我也没必要再跟他穷追不舍，因为很累嘛，最后闹得不欢而散。还有一个那个公司，他跟国内这个地方政府做了一个合资项目，那他是大股东，对方是一个小一点，但是也投资量也不小。 最后呢，他找到我来给他做审计。做审计的话呢，我们就谈到价钱，就他问了一个很奇怪的问题，说你审计要不要看 invoice？那我们审计审什么呢嘛？不叫看 invoice，你别让我看 invoice，我审什么？你那个收入我怎么审？结果后来呢，他找了另外一家，可能也出了这个审计报告，现在把那地方政府就审出去，就洗出去了。那地方就年年亏钱，分不到红啊。他一定把自己股份就卖了。等他卖了以后呢，现在这个股东回去也麻烦了，这个现在一直没出来，也不出来。但是你那家会计事务所是美国的，因为中国司法管不到你，但是你也有责任啊。这个审计就是你做的，是吧？你年年可能把一盈利的公司你做个亏损，吓得国内投资人都亏着了，那真太有责任。对，当时我就没做，还是有先见之明，做完可能也是麻烦。我估计国内的部门也会找他要资料也不会说就不要资料，不管他要资料，一定会要。
国内的国内的那个事项可能是比较乱。我曾经碰到一个人在国内比较有接客回来到这边来，他跟我讲他们是先帮人家做报表，然后再做事。
那不成，对，这不可以。
对，稍微控制一下时间。
好。
然后呢，因为今天我们有
小会的，对
也可以。
好，
那您有没有最后再 address 一下怎么样跟你 contact？
好的，谢谢 ，OK， 谢谢
找你怎么样找你？
找我的话，我叫 David 孙哈，然后我的公司会计事务叫 Apple Bridge CPA Firm， 如果有需要这方面服务的，私下可以建议你们联系。好，谢谢大家。
今天呢，我们也特别的那个，就是I'm going to introduce myself, and because we have 4 teachers after, and so this is the first time we invited English-speaking teachers come to join our salon, and we are Silicon Valley and entrepreneurship a salon, and most of here is Asian American entrepreneurs or investors, and we really appreciate the newcomer to join us and to share your ideas. And thank you, Jeffrey, for bringing the new people into our group. It's great to have you here. So today we're going to have 4 teachers, and the first one is going to be Abi, and he's the electric Fight CEO. And so I'll let you introduce yourself, and in the meantime, I'm going to set up your screen share.
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Abi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Electrified. My co-founder Yashika.
Hi, I'm Yashika. I'm co-founder of Electrified. Thank you so much for allowing us to come and talk about Electrified here with you today.
So, are you okay to just press the down? Oh, yeah. So, see if it works. Yes, you can do this.
All right, we'll get started. So we are Electrified, and we are helping expedite fleet electrification. So why are we interested in this space? Because we are seeing that commercial EVs are on a hockey stick growth curve. We see a report by McKinsey. They are saying that they're expected to have 4.3 million commercial EVs by 2030. And a lot of that is being driven by the operational efficiency, economic efficiency of EVs, and also backed by a lot of the regulations as well as the capital incentives that the government is giving. And what is interesting is that the total cost of ownership of light-duty EVs is already at par with the internal combustion engine equivalents. And thus, there is a very good growth of adoption of these light-duty EVs, as evident by almost 90% in that stack bar in 2030. But this demand is facing one severe roadblock, which is the availability of charging infrastructure. So we are seeing some very interesting trends on the demand side of private EV fleets charging needs. They are struggling to get dedicated access to off-site charging. So if you take example of distributed fleets like ride-hailing fleets and pharma fleets, they don't have access to real estate. They are struggling with home charging because it's complicated, and they do not want to build a business that is dependent around public charging. On the other hand, small and medium-sized fleets, which are like 50 vehicles or lesser, they have low access to capital. They are struggling with the insufficiency in the grid, as well as the long wait times for the utility to upgrade the grid to fulfill their charging needs. Now, this is, we're seeing complementary problems on the supply side of charging infrastructure. So the infrastructure owners who own charging stations, they are struggling with the need of improving their utilization of assets. So there are fleets who are electrifying their depots to support their EVs, and they're noticing that there are periods of time of low utilization of their chargers because it's during the time when their own fleets are going out to work and the chargers are not being used, or potentially they oversized the system, so they had more chargers than what the vehicles needed, or possibly they got the infrastructure set up first and they're still waiting for the EVs to come into production. And on the same time, there are charging as a service providers like your Terawatts and Volteras of the world who are looking for that incremental utilization of their chargers to improve their rate of return. And they do not want to get into the hassle of working with a lot of small players to do that. So overall, if we combine these two set of problem statements, we're seeing a clear need of a solution that is not capital heavy and which is quick to deploy, that solves the problem statements of both the demand and the supply side of private EV fleet charging. So this is where Electrify It comes in. What we are doing is we are procuring supply and capacity from the supply side, which you see on the right-hand side, and then we are renting out charging slots to the fleet on the demand side. And by doing this, what we're able to do is we're able to solve the problem of asset utilization for the infrastructure owners on the right-hand side, and avoiding and giving them the flexibility of working with just one entity, which is Electrify. And then what we are doing is for the fleets who need charging, we're giving them access to these charging stations that were otherwise latent. They were hidden. They were not actually available for charging. So we are doing that really cool unlock over here. So for our customers, we are giving them a monthly subscription to basically get access to a predefined number of hours of charging at these charging stations. So an example is over here where you see a site with approximately 12, 13 chargers, of which some are available at some periods of time to electrify, and the rest are being used by the charging infrastructure owner itself. And during these times where we are able to basically get others to come and use those particular chargers. In addition to this main business model, we are also looking at additional opportunities, revenue streams for our customers, which is basically trying to monetize in carbon credits market as well as grid services market in programs like demand response and vehicle to grid. So how are we going to do this? We are looking at a solution stack where we have a software for our customers on the demand side to be able to access this charging infrastructure that we are unlocking. And then on the supply side, it's a combination of a solution in the cloud as well as the edge to enable this charging infrastructure to be capable of shared charging, because there are issues like access control, payments that are not obviously set in place in private fleet charging, which needs to be enabled to unlock this particular use case. And then, of course, monetization services for those things like carbon credits and grid services.
Yeah, maybe now let's talk about the market itself. We see that there is going to be a huge demand of electricity by the fleets who are not going to have their own infrastructure, like the ones that Abhimanyu spoke to you about. And we see that there's going to be a similar amount of untapped potential in the charging stations set up by the fleet operators and charging as a service companies. We expect to charge a premium of 10 to 15 cents per kilowatt hour of electricity that we handle, which would make our market to be like $2 to $3 billion ARR by 2030 within just the US, not outside of the US.
没雨了，那咱们走吧，往回走吧，要不然一会儿那个谁老回家再着急。对。是吗？
This problem that we're talking to you about the mismatch in the supply and the demand of EV charging capacity, this is not something that we have discovered. There are other people also who are trying to solve this similar problem. And thank God for that, because that means that it's a validated market, it's a validated problem statement, and there is a scope of approaches to solving the same problem statement, which is what other players are also doing. They're attacking the same problem statement, but from different angles. For example, there's a company called EV Match that is building P2P charging networks for B2C market. Let's say you have a charger at your home, they let you rent it out to another person who does not have a charger at their home. Other company, Presto, what they're doing is they're targeting the public charging infrastructure, and they are bringing all the public charging infrastructure under one subscription model instead of user having multiple subscriptions to EVgo, Electrify America, ChargePoint, this and that. What Qdo is doing, they're solving it for B2B, but one charger at a time. They are brokering contract for each charger that is available out there, which seems like operationally intensive model. And Sinop has a charging software through which they have access to fleet depots, which they are leveraging to build a shared charging network. What we have slightly different approach to the same problem statement, because we are very different people, and we believe that data is the new point, and the solution that we are proposing here, what we are building, is very data driven. We are collecting a lot of the data around the charge analytics, the telematics, the fleet charging schedules, which we plan on monetizing as we go with the solution. Both of us have almost 2 decades of combined experience in the energy management space, which we plan to, which we are leveraging to basically build a shared charging infrastructure from across businesses. And we believe that it's not just about setting up more and more chargers. It's about utilizing the same chargers in a more efficient way, which could solve this problem. And we're also taking the underutilization problem onto us from our customers and using our expertise to optimize it better. Yeah. Our go-to-market approach is very partnership driven, because we believe that if there's somebody who's already working with our target customers, they've already established the trust, there's an already established market, and if we can partner with them, it becomes easier for us to go and work with the customers. On the demand side, we are working with EV leasing companies and consulting partners. The reason being that these companies, they go and start working with the fleets very early on when they're just thinking about electrification. And that's the time they actually are worried about the charging infrastructure and try to solve the charging availability at that time. If we go in very early, our solution would get integrated into their entire ecosystem at that time itself. On the supply side, we are going to partner with microgrid players, your likes of True Current and Scale Microgrids. What these guys do is they set up the charging infrastructure for fleets and your charging as a service providers. Again, by going and partnering with them at the time of setup of the infrastructure, our solution, the technology on the cloud and the edge that Abhimanyu spoke to you about, would get integrated in the entire system that they are going to set up. And we're also generating a lot of content. We are going to be launching our first white paper, putting together all the research that we have done so far to get more inbound leads, presenting Electrified as a thought leader in the EV charging space. Yeah, and the good news is that we already have early traction. On the demand side, we are working with an EV leasing company, like the partner that we spoke to you about. We are working with an EV ride-hailing company and 2 pharma fleets.
who do not have their own charging infrastructure and are interested in our solution. On the supply side, we have identified more than 300 chargers across 7 different locations in California and Texas, out of which 100 are going to be live by the end of this month, and another 150 are going to be live by the end of the year. And they are interested in working with us in this model. Now, you must be wondering why these two people are the right people to work on this problem statement and why they are even doing it. I'll tell you a little bit about us. I just completed my MBA from Kellogg School of Management in Artificial Intelligence. Before that, I spent 7 years working in India in the energy management space itself with a startup, which I joined very early on as one of the founding employees. And by the end of my tenure, we got acquired by Schneider Electric. So I have that experience of scaling a startup from zero to acquisition.
And before starting Electrified, I was at AutoGrid for 3 years as the director of industrial solutions, so working a lot with players in the energy space. And then prior to that, I was at McKinsey and Company for 6 years, working with some of the leading utilities across North America. And I also have an engineering background from IIT Bombay. Yeah. And the two of us have been backed by our team of advisors, which is a pretty strong one. We have Tad Piper, who is currently the Chief Commercial Officer at TrueCurrent, and he and I worked together at AutoGrid for a couple of years. He's going to be helping us out at the go-to-market and partnership strategy. And then we have Farshid Arman, who is currently the VP of Virtual Power Plants at AutoGrid, and he and I worked together while during my time at AutoGrid. He's helping us out on the grid services side. And then we have Pranjal Dubey, who he and I overlap at McKinsey, and he's an expert manager there on the analytics side, and he's helping on us on everything related to technology. Our ask from all the investors here today is we are looking to raise $500,000 as our pre-seed round to be able to go and build an MVP and get to 600K of ARR in the next by the end of the next 12 months. And we're going to do this by squeezing out all the underutilization that's there in the sites that we are currently working with.
Thank you for your time today. And thank you, of course, for letting us come and present Electrified here. Feel free to reach out to us after the presentation if you have any questions or if you have any feedback. Always happy to talk.
How to reach out to you? Is that just by searching your company name?
We'll circulate our contact information.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
You find us on our website, electrifiednow.com, as well as our LinkedIn page as well. And yeah, I mean, happy to circulate our email ID.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Any questions? It's okay. All right. Thank you so much.
我想问他，他现在已经到了这个市场商业化了。
Yeah. Have you commercialized it?
We are planning to build the MVP after raising the money, but we have interest from both the demand and supply side to start building the product. So on the commercialization piece, like we have the customers ready to pay, we need to build the MVP first.
我们还要做一个基础的模型，然后呢，现在有客户对他的东西感兴趣，但是还没有开始正式签约，就有客户对他们东西感兴趣。
因为前面我们目标就是说，如果他们应导向市场的话，我们可以帮他到处去安装这个充电器。
Oh, okay.
充电桩。
Oh, okay. Yeah, he is focusing on the construction. So he said, if you are entering into the commercial phase, and he can organize team to help to install different places. Yeah.
We'll get his
contact. Oh, yeah, sure. You can connect, afterwards.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any questions?
So do you have an app or software to build it?
Yeah, I mean, we're not built the app yet, but for us, it's important to get the supply side and the demand side to agree to, basically work with us.
Right.
And the initial solution may not even require a sophisticated app as such because it's a closed loop, right? It's not going to be a public app that anyone can find those charges. It's only meant for those fleets who are working with us. This is a closed loop which will get access to it. So yeah, we build an app, but it will be only for those entities that are working with us.
Okay.
This is private EV fleet charging, not yet public. Okay.
Does that answer your question? Like, what's you want more clarification?
So what's your technical strength for this? Because I'm in this area, so kind of both smart grid here. So what are you trying to sell for this?
Well, if you're a fleet who wants charging infrastructure to be able to move to EVs, then we are giving the access to charging stations that are otherwise not available to anyone else, because we are buying them. We are getting the access to them from the infrastructure owner. Sorry.
Yeah, in simple terms, it's like a tech-enabled marketplace of EV charging capacity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that?
Yes.
Any other questions?
Okay, I think it's great. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and then appreciate it. Okay, our next guest speaker is going to be Burke, and he's a SuperBio.ai CEO. So welcome.
Thank you. Is there a good way for me to move it up or down? Let's come back here.
So yeah, we initially had. I mean, is that this one, or you want me to help you, or?
No, I can definitely. Is there a way to do maybe like? You can stop.
That's easier.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of SuperBio. Our story is, as you know, the COVID-19 pandemic. It had lasted 3 years, right? And millions of people died. It almost claimed the life of my own father as well. And back in 2020, I was a student at Stanford University studying AI for scientific research. And back then, I couldn't help but wonder if we were able to bring these AI tools for research into the hands of all these researchers trying to find cures for COVID-19, would that make their work faster or slower, right? My gut feeling said that there's actually, if we were capable of bringing AI tools into their hands for their research, it would make them fast. So this also means that maybe we could have saved millions of lives in the process. So we thought, do we actually have a moral obligation to bring AI tools to every single lab and every single place, right? And what we did is we actually looked at the numbers, right? Every single year, there are thousands of AI papers and patents that are being published every year, right? But when you look at the life sciences industry, at the bottom, you can see that AI adoption in labs and in clinics or scientific research can take over a year. And these numbers come from Deloitte's, the consulting company's survey, asking life sciences executives and researchers, why is it so hard to adopt AI, right? And mostly the answers were, it's difficult. There are challenges against implementing AI. Choosing the right AI is difficult, and there are really high costs that are associated with implementing AI technology for scientific research. So that's what SuperBio is here to tackle. SuperBio is a software platform that, on one hand, offers an AI model ecosystem, over 650 in one place in a no-code interface, and allows enterprise customers to privately host their in-house AI tools, right? So using our software platform, one, you get access to the latest and the most advanced AI models working for life science applications. Two, you get access to a standardized and user-friendly user interface. So 80% of the scientific community is non-coding. They are non-technical in terms of software engineering. So we have to bring these AI tools to those researchers without getting them to code for it. So what we aim to do is we aim to integrate AI into researchers' processes and slash AI adoption time and spend by 80%. The way we do it, of course, is with an ecosystem. We don't build our own AI tools. What we do is we actually source these AI models from universities, from academic medical centers, from tech companies. And when we source them and deploy them on the platform, we give it to our users, right? And these users are health systems, biopharma companies, other research organizations, and they get these models not only for models, but they get it in a collaborative graphical user interface that are really ready to use infrastructure. And whatever revenue we receive, 70% of that goes to the ecosystem, the suppliers of the AI models, right? And this is already out. All these logos that you see on the slide today are either closed deals or they are currently in the pipeline. Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center is a leading global cancer center that has agreed to become our first AI model supplier. AnyBiome, on the other hand, is our first enterprise customer that is using the platform, that software platform that we have built with the AI tools that we have built. And as I mentioned, it's already out. We have over 2,200 users and 6,500 model runs. So we've seen a consistent 20% month-over-month user growth. And the way that we monetize the software platform is that if you're an academic individual researcher, you pay $20 per month for increased computing resources. If you're an enterprise, it's a SaaS business, right? You get access to all of the models that we put together for you, the infrastructure and the collaborative interface. And if you want to use any of the paid models, right? So a portion of these are free. They come from publications, they come from resources. But if you want to use the proprietary model that we put together, then you have to pay the price that those suppliers have put on these models, and SuperBio gets 30% of the net sales. The net sales mean that we cover our costs with cloud, with storage, with infrastructure, and then we revenue share on top of that. Today, with our 2 closed deals, we project an annual contract value of over $1 million. And we have similar organizations in the pipeline today that we see the current pipeline value of over $500 million per year. And the time in the pipeline, as you can see, is quite short because we spent a lot of time fleshing out the user persona, the buyer persona. So 90 days for life sciences is quite a short amount of time. This is how we think about the market. It's a massive market. In the United States alone, we see that there is about 25,000 annual granted patents for AI and life sciences. About 25%, maybe 30% of those are like medical imaging, software, bioinformatics, and drug discovery. And about 25% of them are patents in the USA, right, where we focus on first. And if we take 2,500 AI models for $20,000 per year and sell it to 1,000 customers, that's $49 billion revenue opportunity every single year. And our moat is basically speed, community, and execution, right? One, we're the first movers. We're one of a kind in this type of platform. It's really time consuming to put all of these AI models in one software platform and work them harmoniously. Two, their network effects. Every single model supplier is capable of bringing like hundreds of users to the platform, right? We don't have to work on marketing. They will be working on marketing. And down the line, we will actually have additional business opportunities where, because we know which companies are using what type of models, what type of application, we're going to have deep domain and community knowledge, know purchase trends, and actually be able to monetize this type of knowledge and data down the line as well. These people are the reason that we will succeed. We pack over 50 years of bio, AI, and business expertise. My background is in biomedical. I hold a bachelor's and master's in biomedical engineering from Brown University. I'm joined by Sean Morgan, who's our head of data science, and he has over 10 plus years of machine learning experience. And we have Eva, who used to be at Google, who used to be at a competitor called Latch. She does business development, product management before us. She's seen companies go from $0 million to $10 million ARR. And I have a really strong advisory team, including Dr. Ranjan Nag, who is my co-founder, and Doc Foster, who is a partner at Advanced Data Science, right? Today, we're raising $1 million at 12.5 million pre-money valuation. It says 200K closed, but as of this morning, it's 250K closed. Thank you so much. Mostly about 50% of this raise is going to go to strengthening the engineering team. But we're going to, of course, build enterprise sales teams that are experts in doing this. And where we want to go is today we have 650 AI solutions on the platform. We want to 3x that number in the next year. We want to get to 10,000 users, basically 5x that number in the next year. And we're looking to get to $2 million in revenue within the next 12 months. So I'll stop there. AI is the future of life sciences, so we hope you decide to join us in this new and massive economy. If you'd like to talk to me, this is my email, but you can talk to me right now as well if you'd like to. Thanks so much for listening.
By the way, Dr. Rugg has been here.
Oh yeah. He mentioned he talks at the 2 p.m. industry.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He was the main speaker.
Any questions like that? Yes.
Yeah, looks like you are a model marketplace, right?
Correct.
So
yes.
you kind of sourcing models from some like large pharmaceutical companies.
Correct.
You are kind of distributing models for some. Can you describe kind of like especially for the use cases? Maybe I better. Why those companies want to sell their model? Because by now I heard a lot of companies really kind of incentivize the protect models like. For the large company, why do you think this is more like want to do the business like this?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we're not sourcing the models from biopharma companies. We're selling the models to biopharma companies, but we're sourcing them from organizations like MSK. Mainly because in these organizations, the way it works is that the doctors and researchers, they do research and then they produce an AI model. And if they want to commercialize this, it has to go to a tech transfer office. And tech transfer offices are often limited in people, time, resources. So they mostly focus on those models, software, therapeutics that actually build companies around. Those AI models that can bring in like tens of thousands of dollars every year are not worth building a company around, but they can still bring money. But these organizations like TTOs couldn't really quite figure out how to monetize them without giving an AI model away. Because the AI model in the end is just a matrix of numbers, right? But if you give it away, you're actually giving away your IP. So what happens at SuperBio? Do you mind if I open up the platform here? Is this the route?
Yeah.
So what happens on the platform is that you have access to over 650 AI models that are in a variety of different applications and use cases. Single cell is one of them. Protein design, basically for therapeutics, is another one of them. Using large language models to find and summarize scientific articles really, really quickly is another one of them. So the way it works is you can click on any of these models. They take you to the app page, and here you can upload your own data, select some parameters, and run this on our infrastructure. So what they gain from this is that their code is not available. It's embedded in our infrastructure, and anyone can basically use it after they pay the price. So it allows these organizations to scale their technology much, much faster in terms of commercialization.
So for most models, if you apply to specific product, you are using to do some fine tuning, right? So are you going to do the fine tuning, or the guy do sourcing to the ID for you?
We have the technology to actually fine tune it, and you can actually fine tune models with your own data, save that model.
So if I'm a researcher, I throw out model, I just waste on money. I don't really do any.
But the model is already trained on an early data, right?
I trained it on my data set, but if I give them to hand over to you, so you are be responsible to all service stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're the one. We handle all the inquiries that are typically posed by biopharma companies in terms of maintenance, support, to be able to use these AI models. It will all be handled by us. So we're a platform marketplace, just like. Yeah. Yes.
Good question. You closed the 2 deals already from Europe.
Yes.
Yeah, and also how long it takes. And also another thing, you have 6 deals in your pipeline, right? And also, what's your projection? Because you're saying like 1,000 deals, whatever. I need to hear what's the pipeline.
Yes, of course. So these organizations took about, I would say, MSK was the first of a kind in terms of getting an AI model supplier. So they took about 8 months or so. Anybody took about a few weeks. They're a sort of smaller organization. UT Southwestern, Weill Cornell Medicine. With these organizations, we're actually basically in the process of selecting the AI model that we want to deploy. So we're in the later stages of the negotiation. Salmark is a pharma company that today they are in a free trial. They are doing a free trial on our platform to decide if they want to sort of onboard as an organization. So I would say all three of these will be decided within the next 1 to 1.5 months. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
My
email is here. If anyone would like to broadcast people by that AI, please ask people to reach out to me anytime. I'll leave it there.
And also, if you guys cut out to remember this email, you can find her.
Yeah, you can find
me.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, our next speaker is Russell Palmer. Is a co-founder of Cyberfilm AI, which builds generative AI-powered tools like the latest Saga, which helps everyone make a real movie. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get your presentation.
And while we're waiting, I was sitting at the back. It's a really cool demo. We show actually writing a script, but the font's a little small maybe. So I know you've been here for a while. If you want to stand up, stretch it out, feel free to come up. There's 2 seats here. There's one there. It's going to be really cool.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just wondering quickly, while people are moving up, how many have seen or even tried Sora?
Yeah.
From OpenAI. Okay, great. Who saw a couple of days ago a competitor coming out of China, Kling AI? So it's actually double the length of Sora and great quality. So text to video is going to be allowing anybody to make movies soon. We've been doing this since 2021. My brother's a Hollywood filmmaker. I'm an AI PM. So let's talk about Saga. And by the way, the company is called Cyberfilm AI, but our angel investor, Jason Calacanis, is helping us work on the branding. So Saga is the name of the app now, and we might switch the company over soon. Okay, so this is one of our real customers, Meet Tag. They work in the film industry as a stunt coordinator and dream of becoming a Hollywood producer, but they need to make their own films first to get discovered. So Tig is new to screenwriting, but easily gets started. A lot of writers know the title. So they type in Shadow Protocol. It's kind of cool. And a log line about a disgraced special forces operative who's being recruited. And then when they need an idea for something like a theme, they just click generate. We've got help tools here. My brother went to film school. He understands how this stuff works. And you're going to get 5 ideas. You don't like them, click, get 5 more, get 5 more. Never gets tired, never runs out of ideas. Moving from plot to the character page. A lot of people know the description, maybe the name, but a lot of good writers will have multiple archetypes stacked up. So not just the hero. We let you pick from a list of about 50 we've researched with definitions to make your characters more multidimensional and relatable. And this is now teaching the AI. When you move on to the acts, a lot of people know, maybe they'll type in, okay, this is about Act 1. I kind of know how it should end in Act 3. I'm having trouble connecting them at the midpoint. This is one of the most common problems for writers. Just click generate. It's looking at all the characters, all the plot, all the acts, everything, packaging it up, and giving you the perfect idea. You can always edit it, of course. So now we move on to the script page. So when Tig is ready to start screenwriting, we have a full word processor like Final Draft, which was invented in the 90s and has not changed. So it's time we move this stuff to the cloud and into the 21st century. But we do have all the hotkeys that writers used to from Final Draft and other applications. So let's say Tig wrote the first scene. Commonly, you will submit it to an agent or a friend, and they will give notes. You can just click that rewrite scene button. And then in natural language, let's say your agent said, oh, the scene needs to be 30 seconds longer, give Mercer more dialogue. I want the opening image to be really dramatic. You can just click rewrite, and it will do it for you. Or if you're writing and you get writer's block, you just click a button, generate scene or generate next line, and Saga is there to help. It knows all the characters, all the acts, all the plot, everything. And so it helps come up with the perfect dialogue. ChatGPT, we've tried it. The dialogue's cheesy, it's cliche, it's basic. This is like we put ChatGPT through film school. And it's not just writing, we have a full storyboarding application. And so take and select from common shot types. And we have these helper guides since they're a writer, they're new to cinematography, but everybody's seen movies. They know what a close-up is or eye level, so they can pick them. Other interesting things we do, you hear a lot about character consistency. So Raven is actually the nickname of the character Jamila. And it knows, though, the nickname, it knows her combat outfit, it knows her the pen and what it looks like from the script and the set and everything. And so when we generate characters, they have consistency. So our users are from Hollywood. They don't want to learn prompt engineering. They'll never get on Discord and learn slash commands. We really want to speak their language. So we're actually adding animation features now. And so this is stable video diffusion. And so each scene can now be animated with what we call previs up to about 5 seconds. When Sora comes out with their API, we've already integrated DALL-E 3 GPT. Just going to integrate Sora. Each of these can be up to 60 seconds or with Kling up to 2 minutes. And then we'll have a full movie generator. So we know all the script, all the characters, every scene. You just have a button at the end that says generate movie or generate a few scenes. Maybe you can film the rest on your iPhone, but this is really going to democratize Hollywood and give everyone access to special effects. It's hard to film this scene on your iPhone with a big explosion, for example. So our traction, we relaunched at V2 in the fall in August. We've been growing on average 30% a month since then. I've got 142 subscribers, 772 monthly active users. We just introduced a freemium. And one thing we're really proud of is we had a 3-day free trial. 45% of people who try it will actually sign up for a paid subscription and stay for at least more than 4, 5, 6, 7 months. And that's way higher than most SaaS companies. So we also have real users. Obviously, there were some Hollywood strikes. I get emails every day. From my favorite show, Breaking Bad, the producer reached out and said, I tried your app, I love it. I'm using it to teach in LA a film structure class. And his colleague who teaches made the movie American Psycho. And just by putting our demos on YouTube, we've got almost 80,000 subscribers now. So people are really getting interested in this. 6 million views of our demos, 70,000 hours watched. Business model, software as a service, $19.99 a month, US, but we're looking at adding a premium plan once we have full video and enterprise. So we do want to move to the studios. And we think this is going to be a really helpful tool for them or the streamers, anyone who's producing content. Okay, so there is a wide landscape of generative AI tools. Some of them do text, some of them do images and or video, but we'll win because our apps are fine-tuned for filmmakers. And we're going to be integrating all of the best available models into one thing. We don't want our users to have to research every different video generator, Runway, Pika, Kling, Suno, Animate Diff, set up Comfy UI. We want them to just be able to go in. And for example, if you generate a storyboard, when we had 4 pictures of Raven, some of those were from DALL-E 3, some from Stable Diffusion XL, some from other models. So we integrate all the other models. And then some of them are just, we don't consider them competitors because some are for business writing, marketing, focus on deepfakes. So we're really niche there. As I kind of mentioned, we're doing a beachhead strategy. So we're targeting consumers first. My brother's colleagues, he works in the Hollywood film industry and in Toronto and Vancouver. So all his network, production companies, online content creators, anyone who needs, even movies on social media needs somewhat of an arc and an act and structure. You can't just film people doing random stuff. That's not what we're into. But then, yes, after we'd like to target the big 5 studios and streamers once we build up a bit of momentum. And in our roadmap, we've got a lot of ideas. So we want new templates. Right now, we're focused on feature films, but templates for TV series and arcs across an episode, but also per show, across a season, I mean, and then per show. Advertising is a huge business. Even a 30-second ad has sort of a 3-part structure and character arc. Animatics, concept art, cartoons, short films, digital comics, all the way up to, in a few years, we really think that we've seen metaphysics and the deepfake Tom Cruise, these virtual acting performances. So you won't have to do all the hours of makeup and putting dots and mocap on people's face. You can turn anyone into Gollum or anyone into Thanos, and save millions of dollars. Movies today cost $250 million to make. It's actually bragged about. Whereas in Silicon Valley, it's like, we spend no money and we had 2 people in a garage and we made this. People actually brag about, oh, my movie, Mad Max Furiosa, whatever, cost $300 million to make. And then they boom at the box office. So I think they're sort of ripe for disruption there. So at first we're targeting 450,000 creators. That means about 50,000 professional writers, 100,000 filmmakers, game creators, online video creators. Game creators are good at making games. They're bad at backstories and writing and character arcs. So we help with that. But that's just sort of in the Western English-speaking market. We think things are really going to take off. Obviously, China, huge market, if we can get into that. Bollywood in India. Nollywood in Nigeria is actually the 3rd biggest. Japan, anime, manga, Western Europe. So once we add models like Bloom, or I hear GPT-5 is going to be multilingual, that's really going to help us take off and get to 100 million ARR. And yeah, our team is really perfect for this. So we're brothers. We've been making movies since we were little kids with a VHS camcorder, and we do stop motion animation with our toys and clay. And we both study computer engineering, but I went off to Silicon Valley, Microsoft, Samsung, JP Morgan's AI labs, and he went back to film school and majored in creative writing. And so he's worked on shows like Suits and The Boys and Superman movies. Then he has his own production company where he's won many awards, and he's a guild member. So the difference between us and a lot of competitors, you probably heard of, there's a lot of people trying to do what we're doing, but we really have the artistry and the AI in our founder DNA. So that's it. I'll write my contact maybe on there. But Saga is the name of the app. So if you go to Write on Saga, is the URL in the social media, but I'll write it there. And yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I know, founder was really against the AI. I know that's the culture. And also, how can you break in the big studios? They have their technology team as well, I heard.
Yeah.
How can you break through?
Yeah, I have heard that some companies are definitely doing similar to what we're doing, Netflix being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
There are some who are definitely not. I know people who work there and they're just not ready. We don't have the skill set for this. So if a large studio comes out with something similar, I think it just validates the market and makes this, makes us open a partnership. If Netflix does it, Hulu will say, okay, we need a team. We don't want to build it. Maybe we can partner with this team. I will say the studios are actually some of the biggest supporters because they are the ones who are sick of paying $250 million to make a movie. And so they want to bring the cost down. They might not start with writing, but visual effects is definitely one area where they would like to bring costs down. And the executives, they love it, even as a tool for writing. And even when I was talking to NBC Universal, they have a lot of TV show writers' rooms. If you've seen like 30 Rock, it's just a show about like a writer's room that Tina Fey runs. So they contacted and said, we don't really want to help with the writing. We'd love to upload a script, which you can do in our app, and then just have it help with the storyboard so we can communicate our ideas visually. We're writers, we can't draw. So I think that there's a lot of different avenues we can attack the studios, but also on the consumer side.
Question. For you, Saga, what model? I mean, you own your own model, the big model, or you license?
Yeah, so two-part answer. We're at our seed round now, so we sort of got through the early stage of bootstrap, friends and family, angel, using other models and fine-tuning them. So we use GPT-4, Turbo, DALL-E 3, Stable Diffusion XL, Stable Video Diffusion, and a few others, and we fine-tune them. We have started building our own model, which is to the second part of your question. So we do want to have more IP that builds out a moat. One example is no one is doing script coverage. It's one of the biggest industries in Hollywood. We know it, other companies don't. But the idea is people in Hollywood will write a script and then send it to someone who's a professional but isn't on the show, pay them $10,000 to just read it and say, this is good, this is bad. Here, I wrote, a sentence or two. And so we want to build a model that takes all the movie scripts in the world and labels them with which ones won Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay or X $100 million at the box office, and either build again or just something to build that onto our script page. So we do have models we want to build, and but those will probably come a little bit later. Hence the seed round, we do want to hire a really good data scientist, learning engineer. We've got a few from Stanford, MIT that, everyone's excited about AI movies, but they want to come on for equity plus a little cash. So I think once we get them, we'll do that.
Will this cost quite a bit to build the model?
It does. That's why I don't think we'll ever build a text to video model. That will cost hundreds of millions, if not billions, plus, the people who got ahead, for example, OpenAI scraped all of YouTube and all of Reddit, and so they have videos, and now YouTube is shutting that down. Reddit's blocking the API. So yeah, we would rather just use Sora and then maybe Kling and a few others and let our users decide. But it's not inconceivable for us to be able to build a text model, maybe fine-tuned or built on top of an open source language model to do the script coverage one. We just need to get the GPUs on AWS. That can be hard. But
essentially, your business model is like you license Sora, and then you add your own secret sauce.
Yes.
And then you sell SAS as a service.
Exactly. Yeah. Like some of our users say, I use ChatGPT to write a script. And it's impossible. It's a chatbot. I'm constantly scrolling up. Who is that character? Copy, pasting every, and then you have to buy Final Draft anyways, which is $250. And then they say, okay, then I go buy Midjourney, and I have to learn Discord and make all these images, copy paste them. I have to buy a storyboarding application. And then when the video comes, they're going to have to buy Adobe, which is very expensive. And so we're hoping that our app can be the one-stop shop. It speaks all the languages. We've researched all the models. Our prompt engineering is top notch. That's why when we test it with Hollywood people, we'll say, try it in ChatGPT and try it in our app. And our app works way better because all of the prompts are fine-tuned. And then even if you say, okay, I've finished writing my 100-page script, all my character sheets and everything, now give me a movie title. We don't just do what ChatGPT does, which is give you 5 sort of cheesy examples. We will package up the entire 100-page screenplay, everything you've written in our app, and then say, for this movie, what's the best title? It's something that other companies don't do, but once GPT-4 Turbo came out and they have the 125K context window you can pass in, which is like 500 books worth of content, that's why our ideas are better. So yeah, there is secret sauce. And even things like that, you saw the script writing, like that's a whole application in itself, and the storyboard one. So competitors could try to copy us, like some do, but I think it's going to take them a while, and then we'll be leading ahead because, again, my brother works on film sets. He deals with scripts storyboards every day. He knows, he's helped us build a roadmap that others just won't be able to do.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Up till today, can acting be replaced? Basically, if I give you myself, right? Then you have your script.
Yeah.
This whole thing, seems pretty
it's debatable. I'm definitely on the side of we don't want to be a full synthetic video company. We encourage and want our users to still, if there's a scene of me talking to someone, you can just film that on your iPhone and you'll get a better performance. If you notice Sora demos, you don't see anyone talking.
Yeah.
And so we think for visual special effects, like, a helicopter crashes outside here and you can't film it, then we can do that. We think it would be a real shame if all human actors or future student actors were, okay, I'm not going to film school, I'm not learning acting, I'm giving up. The movies will become too robotic. I mean, we've trained off everything in the world, but if we stop providing new movies and media and literature to keep training new versions of models over the next 10, 50, 100 years, I think that will get stale and hit maybe a local maximum. Okay, robots can make movies, but they're only this good. So we really believe that AI plus, AI as a tool plus a human using it will make for the best movies. And so we don't want to replace actors. We want to keep them. And but everything we do, because my brother is a actor, director, producer, writer, he, every decision, it's baked in our DNA to do what's right for artists. So we don't, like LTX Studio, we don't try to own your movie or a percentage of it. We give everything to our users. We don't tell who uses our app. It's anonymous for them. So yeah.
Oh, by the way, what's the curve? So like how much you want to raise, what kind of percentage you give out?
Say that again.
What's your term for raising money?
Oh, okay. So it's our seed round, so we're raising 750,000. We go over subscribe to 1.5 million. We've got 350,000 soft committed so far. One from our angel, Jason Calacanis, possibly Mark Randolph, founder of Netflix, and a few other VCs in LA on tap. And so yeah, we're pretty close. We're hoping to get the term sheets in the next 3 to 4 weeks, and we can get back to building. We don't have a valuation right now, but I hit 5 to 10 million. I don't know, maybe around 7 million, something like that, based on just our trajectory and what we've built so far.
Yeah, a question.
Yeah.
How much you raise for the A and B? Because this is third round, right?
Yeah.
C rounds. How much you raised already for A and B? What's the value? What's your guide?
Like the series A and B?
Yeah.
Or those will come after.
Right?
Right?
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I saw the seed, right?
Oh,
I saw the
seed. Oh, maybe. Yeah, no, we just did.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. We bootstrapped for a year, and then we did friends and family round, and then we did a pre-seed with Jason Calacanis, our angel, and now we're on our seed. Okay. And I have 3 investors and 350K of the 750K committed so far. So, yeah, would love to connect with everybody and yourself. So I'll write it up there while
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's the cover. Okay, so the next speaker, it's our last speaker is Hisham Yunus, and he's a CEO of Virtual AI, a real-time quality assurance for remote care workers. All right, so sure.
Oh, yeah, that's
Zoom, there's an option.
and share that audio so the people on. We'll get when that comes out.
Hey, Russell, yes. Did you want to get on WeChat? So then we can build a small group of people interested in you. If you continue just writing images.
Yeah, no, I used to have it.
You used to have it. Okay.
Worked at Microsoft and that's where they wanted me to get it.
Okay.
So
Oh, you can write it.
okay, now WeChat to come. And then where's the catalog? Yeah. Saga. So we'll be.
Share screen?
Yes.
A voice, sound.
Yeah.
Because you have.
Okay, where's the audio?
The computer audio, right?
So where's it going?
Oh.
She says, I'll be with you.
It's not a big deal. The computer audio. People online.
And then where's the computer on? Share something. Okay, I'm gonna switch. So how's everybody doing this? On the screen. Most of the things that sounds
All right. Okay. Yeah, so there's like video share and also sound share. That's why we're trying to connect to the audio sound.
Yeah, so
it's gonna be interesting. That's why it takes some time on this. All right. Yeah, so let's calm down. Excuse me. So let's be a little quiet. David, sorry. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
So my name is Hisham Yunus. I'm the CEO of Virtual AI, and we're a solution that enables real-time quality assurance for remote care providers. Before I dive into it, how many people here have actually had a telehealth call? Anyone?
Telehealth. Oh,
Telehealth. Okay.
With
So
the doctor, right?
With a doctor or a
Oh, yes,
nurse
yes.
or a nurse practitioner, anyone. Okay, so that's about half the room. That's about representative of what we see in the market as well. So since COVID, telehealth has actually exploded. It's 38 times the increase in telehealth interactions since pre-COVID. And there's actually a lot of people doing it, about 9 million. So now you're counting nurse practitioners, telehealth nurses, dietitians, coaches, mental health coaches. But you're also counting, non-licensed staff, such as care navigators or insurance verification experts, etc. And it turns out that the turnover rates are really high, 30%. So imagine you've got 3 million people that are just turning over every year within the industry. Imagine what a nightmare it is to first recruit them, but then not only recruit them, but actually also train them. And it turns out that training is not trivial. It takes about 2 weeks of classroom training. That's typically what we hear. And then about 2 to 4 months, and these are median numbers, right? 2 to 4 months through a period called nesting, where they're overshadowed or watched over by a supervisor. And during that time, of course, it's expensive because other people have to work overtime to fill in where these people are trained. And that's not the worst part. After that, you put them in the job, right? How do you actually ensure that they perform? And it turns out that in most cases you don't. Most organizations have 0 to 1. 20% of organizations have zero quality assurance, and about 50% do it once a month. And when you talk to a provider, you ask them, well, how are you getting feedback on your performance? We hear 2 things: either no news is good news, or I have a one-on-one with my manager once a month. And if it was just a question of cost, it would be okay, we'll eat the cost. But it actually turned out to be much more than a problem. You've got half of the patients are either unsatisfied or neutral with the quality of their healthcare call center. So that's where we come in. What if you could actually automate this process, right? What if you could train, coach, and ensure quality without having to listen to a single call? So in a training experience, take that robotic experience where you have a 2 continuum classroom. Sometimes they have online trainings. What if you could transform it into a continuous process so that the health coach is continuously training and continuously gets better with time? And the feedback loop. What if you could close that feedback loop? Imagine if I'm talking to you, and say, hey, remember that call that you had with Mrs. Smith 1 month ago? Well, great job doing this. Next time, don't forget to do that. And next time, remember to check on this. But if I give you that feedback a month later, it's too late to do anything about it. So what if you could transform that feedback process and make it real time on live call and address the gaps in here? And that's where we come in. I'm going to need your help again with the audio demo. So I'm going to show you straight the demo to our solution. And this is a diabetic patient. I'm going to simulate a diabetic patient, and I'm going to talk to them, a newly diagnosed type 2 diabetic. And these are the 8 items that the healthcare organization actually asked us to check on. So let's have a connection here and see what that looks like. I'm going to log in now. I want to share the audio on this tab. So can you help me with that?
I think that it's already sharing computer sound.
Okay. Well, in the worst case, the people online may not actually hear it. All right. So this is a patient called David, and I'm going to be talking to him. I'm the telehealth nurse in this case, and these are the thanks. And these are the items that I'm supposed to check in that my organization told me to get through on the telehealth call. So let's do a live demo here. Hi, David. This is Hisham calling from Acme Health. Before we start, I'd like to verify your identity. Can you please tell me your date of birth?
Sure, Hashem. My date of birth is February 12, 1950.
How are you feeling currently?
I've been feeling a bit tired and thirsty more than usual. It's been a little difficult to adjust, but I'm doing my best to manage.
Last time we discussed eating healthier. How has that been going?
Sorry. George.
Okay.
I've been trying really hard to make better food choices. I've cut down on sugary drinks and have been trying to incorporate more vegetables and lean proteins into my meals. It's a bit challenging, but I'm sticking to it.
Very entertaining, right?
It's always tricky when you do voice AI. I never thought I'd be interrupted by Trump. But
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Could you please repeat or clarify your statement?
Let's do it again. Last time we discussed eating healthier. How's that been going?
I've been trying to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into my meals as advised. I've also cut down on processed foods. It's not always easy, but I'm making an effort.
That's great. Have you been measuring your blood sugar? What was your latest fasting reading?
Yes, I've been measuring my blood sugar. My latest fasting reading was 140.
I see. That's a little bit high. I recommend you exercise more. Can you take a walk after dinner every day?
Yes, I think I can manage to take a walk after dinner. I will give it a try.
All right, so you get the message here. This is basically how it works. What you saw real time, you just finish here and then generate the report. What you saw real time was me, the provider now, and I have these checklist items that I'm going through that the organization wants to make sure that when I speak to the patient, I talk to him about all these items. As you can see here, I covered five out of the 8 items. After I'm done, then there's a report that says, okay, so here in your self-evaluation, your total score is 5 out of 8, so my compliance is about 60%. And what I see here is exactly all the questions I answered and which ones I didn't and the reason behind them. And then at the end of it, I also get a summary report, which shows what happened on the call. And we can actually tailor this to clinical summaries. So some clinical summaries require SOAP or SOR.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
For the other side, he's not a real patient, right?
That's right. I'm just using a fake patient to demonstrate it now.
Oh, okay.
I could also call my wife at home, but I think it's easier to show it to the group here. But you touch upon an interesting point. I'll talk about that in a second. And so after that, I'm going to go back to the presentation. What you actually see, I'm going to skip this because I actually gave you the live demo, is not only one of the things that we do is also we give real-time nudges. So if you're speaking too fast, you'll get a little bit of a prompt to say, hey, you're speaking too fast, slow down. You're talking to an elderly patient. Maybe you need to control your pace. And then at the end of the call, the provider, so the nurse, gets to see her score. She gets to see everything that we just talked about, including the duration, the talk to listen ratio, the sentiment. But she also gets to see the tips on what she's done, what she could do better, so that next time she can already improve. Now, what can the supervisor see? So for the supervisor, this is a very useful tool because they can come in here, they can choose a time period. In this instance, they chose a week. And they can see the overall compliance score of the group. So maybe they have 20 in team A. You can see that they have a pretty low compliance score. And what's happening is the patient is talking 3 times more than the provider. It's generally good if you're doing things like therapy, but if you're doing things like checking in on medication adherence or checking in on a diabetic patient, that's not so good. What we see a lot, and I saw this firsthand when I was working at Philips in virtual care, patients are lonely. They get a call, they start talking about the baseball game, their grandkids, etc. So the calls can take unnecessarily long. You can see that the calls are just getting longer over time. Patients very happy. Look at their sentiment analysis. Providers very frustrated, and they start to speak really fast, like me now, and then they start to interrupt the patient. So you get a negative sentiment analysis. And the supervisor can see all of this. He can do something about it. Now, if you want to focus in on one provider, you can say here, Becca. Becca is a best practice. She has higher compliance rate. She actually managed to use the right words to calm the patient down, and she has a more balanced talk to listen ratio. She speaks much more slowly. Her calls are shorter, and the provider sentiment is also quite positive. But she's still struggling on some protocols. So I can actually see where she's struggling. So the 8 protocols, she's always consistently not checking the symptoms of the patient. So I don't have to wait that month to tell her, hey, that call that you had with Mrs. Smith 1 month ago. No, I can tell her immediately after the call, let me coach you so that the next call immediately you don't forget to ask these questions. So that's the solution in a nutshell. Here's our business model, and it's a monthly fee per seat. So one thing you'll see, I'm not going to go into all the details here. One thing you'll see across all of these is all of them have real-time quality assurance. Yes, there are quality assurance solutions out there in other industries. We haven't seen them in healthcare, but a lot of them do it after the call, which is too late to do anything about it. So we provide the ability to actually give that feedback to the provider while the call is still in, so you can impact the current call immediately, so you can have a better conversation. And then our expert module, we have another thing, which actually you're able to notify the supervisor as this is happening. So if you see that the sentiment is going down, or the call has been going on for a long time and the supervisor is only answering the
the telehealth nurse only asks one of these 8 questions, you can actually notify the supervisor. And one of the things, we haven't built this yet, is actually allow the supervisor to take over the call real time and actually save the current call before the patient gets off the call. So it's quality assurance, it's training, and it's actual coaching all in one. That's our solution. We're finalizing our first paid design partnership. But I don't want to do pilots. There's a term in healthcare called pilotitis. I'm trying to avoid that completely. And what we do is they have 47 users. They want to use it for customer service and sales, US, and they have also an offshore team in Vietnam. We sent them the design partnership agreement. We got the verbal approval. I was hoping to get it signed before I came in today. It's not signed. It's how things take. And we gave them just a 25% discount in exchange for, we're gonna anchor them to our first tier. And as we have new features, we'll give them to them for free. And it's about $50,000 ARR. So that's our commercial traction. And I love the question from the gentleman. Who was it who asked about whether it was a virtual patient or a real patient? So actually, the first thing that we're doing is train on ensure quality. This is on live patient calls. So me talking to a patient at home, and you get the checklisting and the prompting real time. And then after that, one of the things that we want to build is, let's say we have 1 million conversations by the end of the year that we can actually train our model. I'm very passionate about diabetes. I used to work in the diabetes field. I want to build the first really, truly autonomous AI diabetic nurse that is indistinguishable from anyone. And I think we are at the point of doing that. I wouldn't start there because there's a lot of FDA questions about that. I would start probably with things like insurance verification, benefits coordination, stuff like that. And then we also looked at recruiting, because remember I told you that there's very high turnover, so they're hiring 3 million people. We're going to shelf that one for now. One thing you can imagine is to have a virtual patient, and the hiring manager, the candidates are actually interviewing with the virtual patient before they interview with the hiring manager. I did some exploration with that, and we decided to shelf it for now. It's also a small market. This is a team. We're industry and tech experts. I'm the CEO. I have my PhD from MIT. I also run the digital health track for the MIT Club of Northern California. We have an event every month, so I hope to see you there if you go to our website. And I used to be at Philips in telehealth. I'm a McKinsey alum. Yasser is an expert engineer. He was at Azure and spent the last 4 years at Instagram, so he loves to build delightful product. Jason is really an expert in AI and machine learning. We actually got him from genomics. He was quite interested in how fast this would move versus genomics startups. And Jim is an advisor who used to work for an insurance company, but also Apple. So that's our team. And this is Ask. We're raising $500,000 at a 10 million post-money valuation cap. And we're going to use it to onboard the first 3 customers. And I want to emphasize that they're not pilots, they're design partners, and they're going to be paying customers as well, because we honestly believe that the best kind of customer is a customer that pays, because they will pick up the phone when you call them. We don't believe in doing free pilots, and we're going to be hiring and paying for the GPU and cloud costs, as well as expanding our customer reach. So that's the core of the presentation. Here is my Calendly. If you want to write it down, my email address. You would just want to call me, or pick up the phone and call me, or email me, or schedule some more time to discuss this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If there's any questions?
A quick question. You mean design partners? How do you distinguish between design partner and actual customer?
So design partner, what I do is, because they're getting the alpha product, right, the first generation product, we give them a little bit of a sweetening in order for them to sign, right? So they'll get the first generation of product.
So they have the power to decide how the product should look like, right?
Yes. So because we will actually, and that's exactly the conversation what happened. We gave them P0, P1, P2 features, like we'll build this for you first, then that, then this. They get a discount in return, and we also waive the implementation fees.
Mm-hmm.
And then in return, they get to give us, we get their feedback, and we design the product and take care of them. Please.
I've worked in, I don't know if you know Genentech.
Yeah.
I've done contract work for them. I was a digital product designer and experience designer, and I love what you said about collaborating with your users to form the product. I think that's huge when you're talking about, especially in the early stages, you want to create the best product for the users, right? And I'm curious about, because I've also designed for interactions between for using like AI, which I found really interesting for this space. And I'm wondering, you talked about, for example, the checklist for when a provider is speaking with their patient and they can see in real time what things are covering, what things are not. I'm wondering if there's also opportunities for the patients to give feedback and for them to receive it, or if that's something that you're thinking about, or if they decided maybe this is the right time. I just wanted to like your thought process.
I love your I love that question. So actually, part of the thesis of our startup was there's so many solutions that have been focused on the patients, right? I mean, how many digital health companies are out? At least 1,000, maybe more, right? And they've been out there. Like I talked about diabetic coaching, like Lark, another MIT alum. She has a very nice diabetic coach. I feel like that problem has been tackled sufficiently. Not enough people have actually been worrying on the provider side of things. And they're not that very highly paid, right? So they have difficult jobs. They're not that highly paid. They churn a lot. They don't feel very motivated at their jobs. You know, the advantage of a supervisor, typical supervisor to agent ratio is 1 to 15, sometimes 1 to 30. So if we could give them a tool to make their lives better, reduce burnouts, make sure that they're continually coached, make their job more fun. That's the angle we came in. So imagine you walk into the room of telehealth nurses, and hey, this week, whoever has the highest virtual AI score is going to get a Starbucks gift card. You know, there's going to be this kind of gamification so they can continue to improve themselves. That's what we're going for here. And ultimately, we really think, if you remember from our first slide, if you improve the quality of the interactions, you will get happier patients.
Who defined the score? So is that something that you developed the system?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's interaction, recording, and translating into the language is not that difficult. And right. the key part is the feedback part.
Exactly. So how do we automate the feedback? The lowest level of feedback is just to give them the score on the call. Yeah. Then we have these automated prompts. Yeah. Hey, you're talking to us. Slow down so you can improve the call.
Right.
We have the sentiment analysis.
Somehow you have to fine tune that, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's where the design partner plays a big part, is that they can tell us what kind of metrics they want to actually deliver on this.
So is the sentiment reading only for provider side or also for the patient?
What we have here demoed is for both, because you want to see. I mean, you can, like I said, the first example is like you have a very happy patient. They're super happy. They're just talking about their grandkids, the baseball game, graduation. The provider is just getting frustrated. So I think you have to monitor both. The checklist can be actually only on the provider side or on both. That depends, configurable by the user. Please.
Hey, Dr. Yang, I have a quick question. Sure. There is like a public company called Salon, which is focused on voice.
Okay.
How do you differ from this?
So I don't know what that company does, but if you tell me, I'll let you know.
The founder from Stanford.
Sanborn, they're called?
Yeah, Sanborn.
Okay.
You ever heard of this company? They are focused on the voice AI.
Okay.
And I think provide like customer service, something pretty much similar.
Yeah. So I guess there's two answers here. First of all, we really believe that this has not been done very well or very much at all in healthcare from our exploration. So we've got an industry focus. And the second one is there's a lot of people trying to do the bots. Are we ready for just having a 100% interaction with everyone with the bots? I think that's still 2 to 3 years out. And so we are actually between a human patient and a human provider. We're providing the quality assurance on that call. And we're hoping that from the learnings that we have there, when we do enter the bot markets, we're going to have a superior bot because we have all these conversations that we can train. So we do something beyond what you can get on ChatGPT, etc.
Okay, any more questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Our official time is about to finish. And if anyone wanted to self-introduce themselves, 90 seconds, you can come over and then just share who you are, and so that everyone know about you, and then they will connect with you afterwards. So anyone who wants to come up? Okay, if not, and thank you everyone online, and thank you for staying the whole time, and I appreciate it. I will end this salon today. Thank you.
Thank you.